Welcome back to another edition of On the Nose, a podcast where we look back on the weekend's domestic thoroughbred racing and just let you know where the money's gone, whether we kept a wee bit, whether the punters took a whole lot. Thad, welcome back again, mate.
Yeah, morning, Paul. Thanks for having me, as always. Yep, I do look forward to these little 20-minute sessions with you just to review how the TAB has performed, win or loss or otherwise. So, yeah, we can get stuck into it. Obviously, Whanganui and Tauranga, the two meetings on Saturday.
Shall we start with Wanganui then?
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Okay, race one was for the 2-year-olds. And
Yes.
it looks like Peter Didham's got a nice little filly here.
Yes, and it's onwards and upwards to a size produce, I'd suggest. In 2 weeks' time, 26 into 14, and the size produce is War Princess. Look, she didn't give much else a chance, to be honest. I mean, Cash LeBay ran second, but it was a distant second. 5 into 270, minus 25,000 in the first of the day at Whanganui, and probably not much else to speak of there. They almost backed War Princess was the only shortener in the race, and they got it dead right in the first. And yeah, as I say, she's onwards and upwards. Can she be competitive in a size produce? Well, who's to say? But she went straight to the front, gave nothing else a chance, and customers on side in the first, they're off to a winner.
I'll tell you what, they're on side in the second as well. Oof. It was a maiden over the 1,340 metres, and your odds-on favourite Cut Loose.
Yeah, it did. It dictated up front. It was a funny race, probably for the fact that it was quite weak, in fairness to the combatants. So they were sort of obliged to back Cut Loose because there wasn't much else to back in the race, in fairness, and Cut Loose did the job, comfortably enough. It was minus 40,000. Well, we opened $3. There were some scratchings in the race, so it was more like a $2.30 into $1.70 around Cut Loose. So still a shortness, certainly in the race. It was minus 40,000. I just will touch on the first starters. They both shortened, and that probably speaks to the fact that the horses that had been to the races, they weren't giving much chance to. Marinello was one of them now that played up before the start. Now Haley came off, and it didn't race generously in the run, but I think there might be something there with Marinello.
Keep an eye on that one.
Get the head right. Maybe not next start. You might need to see it one more time, but there was certainly money for Marinello. It was around 21 into around $9. As I say, there were some scratches in the race, but, it was a significant shortener. And Jasleen was the other one. This was a nice run from Jasleen. Bryce Newman, I think it was the first start. It might have had one run, but there was some money for it down the bottom of the page there. It was around 16 into around $9 as well, and that ran a race. So maybe Jasleen's the one to mark down out of the race, but the form may not stack up, Paul, in all honesty, because I don't think it was the strongest of races, but it was minus 40,000 at the end of it because Cut Loose won.
Race 3, over the 1340 again, open handicap this time, and Andrew Forsman and Mr. Mojo Rising with Amber Riddell aboard get the job done for punters.
Yeah, sure did. They got the spot on customers to a degree. They backed 2 horses in the race. One was Mr. Mojo Rising there. The other was Amend. Now, Amend, I think they mapped to lead the race. It was $3.20 into $2.30. It was minus 20,000 for Amend, but the winner was obviously Mr. Mojo Rising. Great ride from Amber Riddell. She jumped well and kept Amend out off the rail, and it was probably the end of Amend's chances, to be fair. So credit to Amber Riddell there, and it was a shortener as well. $3.50 into $2.90 for Mr. Mojo Rising. It was around minus 5,000. It was a small loss, but as I say, they got the market spot on there because the likes of Blissful Bell, who we opened short, she just doesn't look to be quite the same filial mare that we have seen in the past. Blissful Bell, she was there around sort of $3.90 out to around $5.50 and maybe $6. And Kopua probably wants more ground. The market was spot on there. It was around 5s out to double figures. I think it started around $11 Kopua. So they got it bang on. They probably wanted Amend to win, but Amber Riddell sort of Amend's chances, the way she rode Mr. Mojo Rising, a small loss.
Race 4, and it's the 3-year-olds over the mile. And Alan Sharrock at home with Bell Tribute. Rolls the fave.
Did us a favour. And often you say that about
Thank you, Al Sharrock.
Yeah. Well, we've got to thank Alan when he does us a favour because it's very blue moon sort of stuff, to be fair. They left it in here. Coulthard was the big mover. All but got there. I mean, they were heads up, heads down a little bit. Coulthard missed. It was minus 50,000. It was $4.60 into $2.40. And Bell Tribute, who been knocking on the door but had let customers down a little bit. It had been 270 out to 460, so it was plus 30,000 to the TAB. So we're starting to fight back after a very ordinary start. We were down around 70-odd thousand after 3 races. That was plus 30 with Bell Tribute.
A 75 over 1,600 metres for race 5. And do we get a wee bit back again here with Amber Riddell helping us out?
Yeah, she did. Funny. As I say, funny market. Privy Garden was all the rage during the week. We opened it at an incredible $4.20. Customers said, "Well, that's just madness. We'll have it all of that all day." Got into as short as $2.10, and then in the last 10 to 15 minutes, we just sort of saw that horse started to soften up. Obviously, traders potentially overreacting to that early money, then having a bit of a recorrection in the market late, and you can sometimes see that if you're watching closely in these markets late. And the two they backed late ran the Quinella. Rusty Lane was $6.50 out to $8 on the back of Privy Garden, coming in so short, then back to $6.50 late. And Cyclone got out to $9, and that worked its way back into $6 Cyclone. So they ran the Quinella. Yes, it was a win. Privy Garden was minus 35,000. Rusty Lane, well supported late, was plus 15. So it was a win. Privy Garden was the worst way there.
Late money was the good money.
Late money was the smart money there. Yeah, you always say the smart money. It was the right money or the right lead lane. Yeah, pays to watch the early markets and then pays to watch the late markets. I mean, I don't know how hard you want to be watching these markets. Not as hard as me. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. But can tell the story. And this time it was that late move or that softening of the favourite and the support for those 2 runners. They end up running the Quinella all of Rusty Lane and Cyclone.
Yeah, we'll get to all of it.
Sorry,
we'll get to all of right now.
I've jumped ahead of me. I looked down at your screen and I've jumped ahead. Yeah.
Race 6, and it was over 2,040 metres, open handicap. And as you say, Kate Hercott picks up another win for the day on all of.
Yeah, Alan Sherrick doing us another favour in the fact that Sashibwe was beaten.
Is that how you say it?
Yeah, I had a few cracks at it on Saturday.
Right, Tashibwe.
Yeah, Tashibwe. Well, there were a few. There were a few attempts from a few on Saturday, I can tell you, and it was a bit of a Renouf situation. But I'm going with Tashibwe, and my African cannot be questioned.
No, certainly not.
At any way, shape, way, $4 into 260. So it was a decent move for Tashibwe. And that money came early. It was minus 40,000 to Shibwe, so it was well backed. And the only horse that sort of held its ground to a degree was Orlov, even though it was 370 out to 450, which meant it was a sort of a break-even result for the TAB because that money, we got to Shibwe relatively quickly with the early money. And Orlov is a popular horse, 350 or 370 out to 450. It was break-even. The horses that drifted were Heart of Gold, the synthetic specialist potentially, or did get the win at Whanganui the start prior. And look, Christelle set it alight the 800 metres and just couldn't quite hold on. Kick On, very soft, $5.50 out to $11, and Fats as well, which is unusual for Fats to be soft in a market. It was around $4.80 out to $6.50. So, as I say, if they weren't nailing it in one, Paul, they weren't a mile away down at Whanganui. We'll touch on the overall result when we get there, but it was a minus 5,000 for Orlov, but the money was with Tashibwe 4 into 260.
Race 7, the penultimate race of the day at Whanganui, also over the 2,040 metres for the 65ers. Sunset Boulevard gets home.
Yeah, it was our opening favourite in the race. It was $4 out to $4.60. It was a winning result, plus 15,000 for the TAB because they backed a few to beat it. Well, they backed one in particular to really beat, and that was Leave a Light on Janelle Miller. 11 into $2.90.
That's a hell of a go.
A hell of a go.
How many scratchings in the race?
I don't think there were.
Did that factor in?
I don't think it did. I had a bit of a look. Maybe it's a small deduction in the race, but that was a genuine move. And it got short. It got to around $5. And I thought, that'll be the mark. And in the last 10 minutes, the bottom just fell out of it. So, look, it's performed on the track or won on the track of recent times. And I did notice at Whanganui, and it's not just a myth, horses for courses. And Tauranga is a little bit like that as well, and we'll touch on that. But maybe that was a factor in it. It was going to race up on the speed, Leave a Light on or close to it. So, again, but anyway, that was an incredible move, 11 to 290. Blue Genie did shorten in the race. It ran in the money. That was around $18 into $9.50, and that's another horse that likes the Whanganui course, so can understand the move there. It was a nice run from Blue Genie. That might be one to mark down, particularly if it runs at Whanganui in the near future. And gee, Uncle Arch, don't mind the look of this. I know this isn't a show about me talking about what I like the look of. It's more about the numbers here.
I'm
But
sure if there's something that pops up in the weekend that you think punters might want to take a look at next time out.
Yeah, I mean, look, he was $5.50 at the $9, so there was no money for Uncle Arch, but boy, geez, he savaged the line. I thought he was going to be the winner. A few hundred out, and he got a bit of a stride about him, I thought. So I've marked Uncle Arch down, just as maybe something going forward. It was a big run, but look, Sunset Boulevard, 15,000 to the good because of the move for Leave a Light on 11 into 290 minus 60,000 that was, but we came out plus 15.
Final race of the day, 65er over the 1,340 metres, and the postman delivers. Chris Dowell gets home on Metaverse, just ahead of the favourite.
Yes, and it was the great escape for the TAB too. See Rosie fell in the training ranks there. Good on Rosie. Gee, it was a decent move, 7 into 310. Got a bit of the family, push about Rosie already. The Myers plungers potentially coming off. But look, it was 7 into ran a very good race. It was minus 50,000. So they knew what they were doing to a degree. But, Metaverse was plus 25, $8.50 out to $13. But, look, they put it on. Great Escape ran a very good race. A win due or win soon, I think, for Great Escape. But plus 25 with Metaverse, $8.50 out to $13.
Okay, let's head up north to Tauranga now. Race 1, it was a maiden over the mile, and Jasmine Fawcett, who's been riding very, very well of late, gets a $10, $11 shot home in New Recruit.
Yeah, for Pam Gerard. So that was nice to see, and it wore the Moroni colours there as well. Did New Recruit led all the way, which they can do at Tauranga, and once they saw the New Recruit lead all the way in the first, the marketplace certainly reacted. And reacted the right way a lot of times with front runners at Tauranga, particularly in the first half of the card. But Mohi Place was all the rage in the first, $8 into $4.40. That was minus 70,000. Radradra was in the race. That was also a losing result. There were two shorteners in this market. Navy Icon ran fourth. Nice enough run, 17 into 950. That was only, I think, second up this campaign. So building, Navy Icon building, the money was on, follow the money around Navy Icon, and the big move late was Venda Bell for King Kelso. Now, this was a horse that got well out of its ground from the draw, which was probably always going to happen, and I was a little bit surprised to see that move, just with what I thought might happen in the first and eventually did. So Mark Venda Bell down out of the race as well, I would be, because there was plenty of support. It was $9.50 into $4.20. New Recruit, 15. A little nibble into $11, just where there were a few scratchings in the race, but 15 into 11. But the damage was done around Mohi Place, Navy Icon, Radradra. It meant we were off to a winning start, plus 60 New Recruit.
Not so quickly, Thad. Race 2 at 1,400 metres for the 65ers, and Sam Spratt and Perfect Dividends.
Yes, exactly. Well, again, we're talking about markets reacting to what they see. And obviously we saw that first leader home, and Perfect Dividends did look to lead, or did look mapped to lead, and certainly did. $3 into $2, minus 15,000. Flash Effect got in and then got out with the move for Perfect Dividends. I think they ended up Cornella in the race, but the market got it spot on here. Perfect Dividends. Due a win, got it 3 into 2, minus 15.
Race 3, and it's 1,400 metres for the 75ers, and you say Dorsey.
Yeah, another horse that deserved to win. Been running some really good races at Ellerslie, running some good places. It was 420 into 380. It's a Chris Wood runner, so there's always some support to a degree. We'll see that. It was a break-even result. Sarko was 8 into 550. That was minus 60,000, and they were heads up, heads down, Sarko and you say Dorsey. Right the way to the line. It fell the right way for us to a degree. There was good money for Tanganyika. And they did try to be positive enough, and then it got a bit over racy.
Mm-hmm.
It was 550 into 350, so if that falls into the right race and gets a gate, I guess they sort of had to push the button a little bit, and then just got a bit racy on it. A break even is sort of a nothing result for the TAB, a deserved win to you say Dorsey.
Race 4, 1,200 metres for the 3-year-olds. And boy, oh boy, another very nice filly in Love Poem.
Yes, a lot of people's bet of the day.
BP?
Yep.
Stephen Hunt?
Stop it. Yeah, I don't want to talk about bets of the days and the like if I can help it. I'm on a string of about 1,000 seconds. But, gee, they'll talk about the marketplace getting it right. This was a race where I'm all in and Love Poem, stablemates, and they looked like they were. I'm all in was going to lead, and Love Poem could just track it across. And what we'd seen with the pacemakers holding on,
yes.
exactly, that just added to it. And they gave absolutely nothing else a chance in the marketplace. I'm all in was $5 into $3.50. Love Poem was $2.45 into $1.90. I'm all in led. Love Poem swooped, came across with it, sat outside leader.
There's your Cornella.
There's your Cornella, and they Cornella.
And then there was Daylight.
Exactly. It's Daylight third, exactly. Minus 30,000 Love Poem. Good to see her back on track.
Right, race 5, open handicap over the 1,200 metres, and the Big Rooster gets home, Grand Gallo.
One of your old favourites, the Big Rooster. I did get a bit of mileage out of that Big Rooster over the weekend. Thank you for letting me know that's
very good.
Spanish for Big Rooster. Yeah, the Big Rooster, look, he's usually a losing result. It's quite a static market, this. It was a smallish field. There was money for a few of them, in particular Yaldi, who was 3 into 260. And there was also money for Miss Rockette down the bottom, who was going to race on speed from barrier 1. So they were starting to gravitate towards these horses that they thought were going to be up there, which meant Grand Gallo, even though it was 5 into 4, which happened quite early in the week, it was a positive result, plus 15,000. But a relatively static market all around there, the fifth of the day.
Race 6, 75 rating for over the 2,100 metres. And Juju.
Juju.
Surely the bookies get some back.
Oh, you'd like to think so, wouldn't you? One for the locals here, Jimmy Pender, and they knew too. They knew. It was minus 20,000. I can tell you it was a lot worse than that heading into the last quarter of an hour of trading was, Gigi. So they knew something was up. I think it got as high as $18, actually. Back into 13, and that's where it started. And looked to be under pressure at the sort of 500-metre mark and just kept finding minus 20,000. So that was a losing result. King of the North was the worst way, but hardly budged. It was around minus 50. Enright, here's your horses for courses. It was 650 into 480 and led them up as well. So he had the on pace with the course. You can understand why they gravitated towards Enright, and it ran a gallant second in the race, but was in the placings anyway, Enright. But yeah, GG, one for the locals. There's the local money, and I did mention it on Te Trackside on Saturday that the locals had a bit of an inkling for Gigi, and they got the job done, minus 20.
Race 7, and it's the feature race of the day, the Group 2 Ultimate Mazda Japan Trophy over the 1,600 metres, and O'Sullivan, Scott and Whitek.
Yeah, Whitek 5 into 460 late, so they came for the class late in proceedings, but in a race was a $5 favourite, and there was a lot of depth and sort of a lot of attractive prices. The money was extremely well spread, and then added to that Whitek was going to map to get back. It meant it was actually plus 30,000 for the TAB. The losing results were good old Herbert, who was going for 4 in a row. He ran another good race. Has to be a winner. It was a long shot that they did like. That was minus 50,000. 2 shorteners in the race. Leroy Brown. Oh, gee, they thought this was...
He's a bad man.
He is a bad man. And look, he was the obvious leader, Leroy Brown, and it was the leader, but as Leroy can do, he sort of burst or popped at the 200-metre mark. He's a bit of a hit or bust or win or bust commodity, old Leroy. It was unfortunately a bust at that level, but he was 13 into 7, so look down to the track. He loves the track. He was undefeated 3 from 3, and then he was going to lead. So you can understand again why the market has moved towards him. He was minus 90,000. He was, in fact, the worst result in the race, Leroy Brown. And Navigator was another shortener, had no luck. Just a bit, I think, draws barrier 1 at Mudda, gets trapped behind them, draws a bit wide at Tauranga, and then got trapped 3 wide. So no luck, Navigator. It was honest, didn't finish far away, but it was entitled to fade slightly off the run that it had. I mean, good old Whitek was plus 30,000 in the Japan Trophy.
Well, Whitek had been going around against Group 1 company prior to that. You know, the likes of Al Vencedor.
He's a great horse. A great horse. He's not a great, but he's a neat horse. Like he tries hard. It's just his racing pattern sometimes makes him a little bit frustrating for customers because he is going to get back regardless of the race distance and then be doing his best work late. So he needs conditions to suit. It was a great ride up the rail, Damask Rose-like potentially on Waitak, which, as I say, he needs a few things to go his way. He got them to go his way, and he's good enough to capitalise when they do.
Final race of the day, and it was a 65 over the mile, and Hadid gets home and beats your bet of the day.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. I said not to mention that. Yeah, that's another second for Monday Melody. Look, I was $3.20 when I tipped it as my bet of the day, and my concerns were a wide draw and a big weight. I didn't expect it to start at $2.10, to be perfectly honest. Minus 60,000 Monday Melody. Gee, they punted it, but all those concerns came home to roost, to be fair, because he tried to be a little bit positive, Craig Grills, had to come back and out of it, and ended up sort of wide and at the back, and he made his run early as he could, but it wasn't to be. The horse they did back against Monday Melody, and probably the only horse they backed against Monday Melody, was Hadid.
Nice. And, a lovely ride by Sienna Brown.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, talk about making every post a winner. This horse just ran along in front and kept going for Sienna, so congratulations to her. But it did mean, because of all that money for Monday Melody, even though it was 10 into 7 and sort of 10 into 7 before Saturday morning, it was plus 30 for Hadid. So we got out with that money for Monday Melody, who was minus 60.
Okay, so overall, Tauranga?
Overall, Tauranga were around plus 100,000. Whanganui plus 40. It was a smallish win at Whanganui for the TAB. Slightly better performed at Tauranga, around plus 100, but not the most memorable, not the biggest wins, Paul, but yeah, to the good. Plus 100 Tauranga, I've got plus 40 Whanganui, so a winning day for the TAB on Saturday.
So if we look back over the two meetings, is there someone that you can pinpoint for punters to say you might want to have a Bo Peep at this runner next time out? Is there one that sticks out?
Well, I mean, this shows a money show, Paulie.
Yeah. Well, what does the money tell? Money can tell you a lot of things.
No, 100%. So that's what I think we should be talking about in terms of that. Look, Moe Place is crying out for a win. It had no luck in the trail. Don't talk about Barry one in the trail. Not my favourite place in the world. It was unlucky. Probably should have won the first. It was 8 into $4.40. It was back to the start prior at Mata Mata and boxed on well for third. So that is very close to a win, is Mohi Place. Just looking down the page for anything else that potentially is getting close to a win. To Shibway, maybe. Cyclone won't be far away either. But yeah, look, if I had to mark down one, I'd say Mohi Place, because that's twice now it's shortened the market and both runs have held merit.
Fantastic. Right, Thad, thanks for joining in again. And thanks to you guys for, watching.
Yeah, watching. Yeah. Just
hopefully you're getting something out of it.
I hope so too. Like, it's just a chance to just sort of try and piece the puzzles together. It's another piece to your punting puzzle. That's what I hope this show is. And we've got the Oaks next week, Paulie, at Trentham. Are we going to be on course there? Well, you'll be on course, no doubt.
I don't think I am.
Oh, okay.
No, but I will be watching intently. You're right. So we'll be reviewing Oaks Day at Trentham next week when you tune in for another episode of On the Nose.